All right, guys, and welcome to the 10% Fitter Method Show. My name is Anton, and I'll be talking all things stress today. Just need to fix something on my screen real quick here for some reason. It's spilling over too much. Let me fix it, and I'll get started real quick. Sorry about that. It's a weird blur right there on the right side that I don't know why it's coming in like that. There we go. All right, all fixed. Okay, guys, so sorry about that. I've always have issues with sound because I forget to turn it on. But today's the 10% Fitter Method Show, and I'll be talking to you all things stress. Today's a little bit different, especially because it's a holiday and you guys have a day off. So today's going to be maybe a little bit longer show than normal. Plus, I want to make sure that you guys get to, why is this not showing up? LinkedIn doesn't like me to see my own stuff, so then I can look into your guys' stuff. But anyway, I want to do a little bit longer show because I want to see, how do you like to get these shows? I'm noticing I've lost some followers over the last few weeks that I've been doing these lives because people get these notifications that I'm going live and they unfollow me. So because of that, I want to find out, how do you want to receive information? How do you want to see this stuff happen? So we're going to try a little bit longer, and then next week we'll go back to all 4 weeks and just modify. And I want your feedback. Reach out to me in DMs and say, Anton, I want your show to be 4 days a week. I want your show to be 1 day a week, whatever's convenient for you. I don't care about losing followers because they get annoyed by notifications. I care that my audience receives information the way that you need to receive it. And because I do this not to, really, I do this for free, but I do this for a selfish reason, because it makes me feel good to help you. It makes me feel good to know that I played a role in your life and making you healthier and things like that. So let's dive straight into conversation about stress. I'm going to be discussing this, and I hope that more of you tune in, because it's crazy to me, like, people will watch cat videos, but discussing your health, discussing how to fix your life and how things connect to it, that's not important enough. Guys, I am not your super nice coach that's going to tell you like, oh my God, everything's going to be okay. No, it's not. The way that we're living right now is unsustainable. The way that we're living right now is going to put you in the grave by the time you're 45, like my dad did. Bottom line, that's the reality. So, for all of us that are talking about, oh, I'm too busy for this, too busy for that, I'm like, no, you're not. You're not too busy for anything. Like, you're just not a priority enough to you. You're disconnected from your future self. You don't understand the full picture of how stress impacts your life, and for that reason, you're not doing something about it. That is where you are to blame. And maybe it's not you that's listening, but people that, dealing with health and stuff like that. It's crazy to me. Like, I give this information. I used to charge thousands of dollars for seminars like this. Now I'm giving away for free and people don't show up because it takes time out of their day. Or maybe it's not delivered in a way that's perfect for them. No, it's not that. It's because stress management is not important. It only becomes important when you can't fall asleep at night. It only becomes important when your relationships suffer. It only becomes important when your gut is so big you can't get rid of it, and now you're frustrated that, things are not going right. Well, too late. Now it's going to take you years to recover. But when it's easy, it's now. It's before it becomes so bad. So anyway, we'll talk about all 4 components, because with 10% Fitter Method, my coaching method that I use for health coaching and life coaching for that matter, there's 4 components. There's mindset, there is internal health, there is nutrition, there is exercise. And stress is impacted by all 4 of those components differently. So we'll dive into that today and talk about that. But let's kind of first understand, what does stress look like? What does stress as a big picture thing look like? Because what most of us understand as stress is just a small thing that happens in our head. And so I'll give you guys a story. I've done not thousands, probably, well, yeah, actually thousands, over 5,000 consultations in my life. So I have lots of stories of people coming in and having conversations about their health and what they think is happening, or, what their course corrective actions may be that they're trying to accomplish. And what I uncover is stress. Everybody thinks it's in their head. You come and you start talking to people and you start assessing their symptoms. What I still do in consultations is I take your intake and I sit down and I talk to you about your symptoms. From the time that you wake up to the time that you go to bed, and as well as how you sleep. What is going on in your life? How is this all happening that is basically making your body respond a certain way to stress? Then I capture that big picture and I'm able to understand, here's what's actually going on for you. And when you start telling people, hey, you're stressed and these are the symptoms that are coming from stress, but they don't feel stress in their head, that's when there is a big disconnect occurring. And this is why I spend so much time teaching these things, because when you understand stress from a bigger standpoint, then it's like, okay, now I can see the connection of it to my everyday life. It's not just me being stressed and being irritable or, feeling anxiety. We've oversimplified stress, and because we oversimplified stress, it makes us not actually correct stress as much because we don't think it's as big of a deal. But stress is not just in your mind. So in this is my favorite way to explain stress, is using the bucket analogy. But the reason I want you to understand this is that stress you can manage it in 3 different ways. You have stress coming in over here on the left side, right? So you got this dumping into the bucket. My thing is reversed, it's like mirrored, so I got to point the other way. And then stress coming out, it's coming out of the bucket. Then in the bucket itself, you have adrenal glands. Adrenal glands that's actually not the adrenal glands. So your kidneys here in the picture, if you can see it on your phone, I don't know. But on top of them are tiny little glands. And they regulate one of the most master hormones in your body called cortisol. Yeah, see my pajamas here? I'm still in PJs. Woke up a little late today. But anyway, so that is a complete picture of how to manage stress. That is a complete picture of all the things that are going on without necessarily getting into science. Stress comes in, your adrenal glands work on regulating it. How I would explain this is, think of like a boat, like in a bucket, or sorry, a boat. And adrenal glands are the guy in the boat that has a hole in it, that got a little bucket and they're constantly dumping that water out. That's what your adrenal gland does. Even if your life is chaotic and there's massive amount of stress coming in and there's really not a lot of stress coming out, your adrenal glands are still doing their best to try to keep it in balance. They're working really, really hard dumping that water out, but they get tired and they get exhausted and they eventually fail. And that's when really bad things happen. It's called Addison's disease. Addison's disease is when your body stops to make waste for time? I don't know what that is. Oh, maybe it's a waste of time. Oh, JSEO. I think somebody just commented a negative comment. I love these guys. Thank you for commenting and saying a negative comment. I appreciate that. Because you don't care about your health. And I don't give a shit about your comment. And yes, I comment. And I will cuss because people like you annoy me. Because people try to go out there and give advice to people for free, and you come in with your poison and you ruin it. Sorry to detract, guys, but I can't stand trolls. I don't stand up. I will not look at you. JSEO, get off my page and go bother somebody else. Nobody wants to talk about that, but people want to hear health, so go and practice your little online business elsewhere. Sorry, guys, I can't stand people like that here delivering information for people about health and they have to spread their poison. Get off. Jeremy, thanks, brother. I appreciate that you like the topic. But anyway, sorry, guys. I just don't play with trolls. I'm one of those people that I honestly don't care what you think. So people are like, oh, he's too aggressive, I won't follow him. That's fine. Like, I'm okay with that. But I will not let trolls go on my feed and do these things. Why? Because if they do it to me, they do it to other people. I can stand up to them, but somebody may take that comment and stop doing positive stuff because some troll went on there and thought they wanted to make a comment. Shut your mouth. Bottom line. Jesus. Sorry, guys. I just get really upset about these people. You have no life. Anyway, you see what happens when stress happens? It starts to boil over, but then you recognize it, you bring it down, you recover. Yeah, I know, waste for time, I don't know, whatever. Wife's like, I don't know if that's what he meant, don't be mad at him. But anyway, so, beside the point, understand, that bucket is filling with water. That water overflows, you're going to have issues. And that's what's happening to many of us. We just don't see that water overflowing because we may not feel anxious in our head. We may not feel overburdened and really stressed out because stress is happening internally. Like, that is a big deal. So let's look at first the components of internal stress coming in. Then we'll look at components how you can take stress out. And then we'll look at components of how you can manage your adrenal glands to Yeah, I know, but still, I have to step in, Zara, and say something because like I feel like if they do it to other people, it'll maybe stop those people from doing good. And I'm an idealist. That's why I say stupid stuff all the time. You guys will hear that. Far from a perfect person, more like an idiot from time to time, but it's okay. But anyway, so then we'll talk about stress coming out. And then what you can do to support your adrenal gland. So first, look at stress coming in. When most people start to talk about stress management, this is the component that most people think. If you're going to manage your stress, it means you're going to cut out the amount of stress that's coming into your life. This is really important, guys. Pay attention here because this is not possible for some people. You're a parent, you're an entrepreneur, you are maybe multiple business owner, you may have a team that you're running, whatever. There's just lots of these things that are gone. You can't back off. You can't take a bunch of vacations. You can't reduce stress load amount that's coming in. So what happens at this point? People don't manage stress because they feel, hey guys, I will say this, Neha Gupta, I don't know how to say your name perfectly, but she's looking for a job. If you want to type in what kind of job you're looking for, I'm not a, job seeker helper, but if somebody's on a live and you're typing this in and I see it, I'll gladly say it, that you're looking for something. If somebody can help you out, I know how frustrating it can be and stressful it can be to not have a job. So if you want to type in what you're looking for, I'll go ahead and announce it. But anyway, so we think that because I can't stop my stress from coming in, that means that I can't really do stress management. But you're leaving out two other components of stress management. And that's why you need to see the big picture of stress before starting to manage your stress. So with stress coming in, that's going to be your mental stress. That's going to be things like fixating on something and that thought preoccupying your mind all the time. And we may not think it's something bad. You could be thinking about, say, like you're getting ready for a wedding. And you're excited for the wedding. That's going to be a really positive event, once in a lifetime, hopefully once in a lifetime thing. And if you're excited, you're always thinking about it. But that thought is always in your head, so it creates stress because you're thinking, you're not present. You're always taken away from the present moment. And when we're taken away from present moment for prolonged periods of time, that creates stress in our mind. And that is a problem. So mental stress, we will talk about how to combat that, but just understand that's being fixated on stuff. We talk about, I talk about 3 buckets of things we control, things we influence, and things we have to accept because we don't control. Majority of our mental stress comes from stuff we can't control. That's what's crazy, right? Like, there's an exercise that I do as a coach for people, and I said, sit down, create a journal. In your journal, make 3 basically areas and write down all the thoughts that are plaguing your mind right now. And column 1 is going to be things you directly control. So what is an example of things you directly control? That's going to be, say, let's use an example of stress management, and we want to manage stress, and we'll break down those 3 buckets and what we control and what we don't. So what I control with stress management is when I go to bed and when I wake up. I can put my alarm to remind myself to go to bed and put my alarm to wake up at a certain time. So that is a controllable 100% because that is a choice. Now, when I fall asleep, I can influence. It's not directly a choice because then you're able to, let go will be control for sure, Kimberly. So then we're able to kind of set the alarm, go to bed, but the body doesn't want to go to sleep. So what can you do? You can take things you influence. How can you influence your body? You can meditate. You can take stress management supplements that help you to fall asleep and different things like that. I'll cover these in the show. I can't cover all this in an hour, guys. This will be like a 10-hour show. But by the way, if you need a consult, like set up a time. If you have anything that's going on health related, set up a consultation, guys. I want to give you an hour of my time. I'm a new online coach. So my book of business right now, I'm just being honest with you. Like, I don't sugarcoat. I'm not one of those pretend to be something that I'm not. I know coaching because I've been coaching for over 10 years, face-to-face conversations, and still carry a lot of face-to-face clients. But I don't know online coaching as well. I only have a few clients that have grabbed online. So grab me for these opportunities because supply and demand, right? While I'm in low demand, I'm available. I'm going to give you this stuff. So grab a calendar link in my profile and let's talk. I'll help you. But anyway, so now we create these supplements, help us influence fall asleep. But what can you not control? Can you control your husband? Can you control your kids? Can you control all those noises around you? Construction? No, you cannot. So we've done what we can by controlling what we control, by setting an alarm and waking up at a certain time, going to bed at a certain time. We've influenced what we can by giving our body the support that it needs to manage stress by meditating, doing supplements and different things like that. And then we just have to let go of stuff that we can't and manage it the best that way we can. I have one client, her husband and her have different sleep cycles, and he's very much a night owl and she's not. And it's like, you can't be mad at him for his sleep cycle, but you have to figure out what you can control. Maybe you guys have to sleep in different rooms. Maybe you have to, have different parameters set in place, whatever it may be. But that's how that works. So you need to understand that your mental stress needs to be categorized in those three buckets: things you control, things you influence, and things you must let go. And majority of it comes from stuff that you must let go. That's what's crazy. Majority of our mental stress comes from places that we just can't do anything about. It's an unnecessary mental stress. And it comes from lack of awareness. It comes from lack of being present. Now, oxidative stress. What's that stress coming in oxidatively? Ladies, your makeups, especially like if they're not clean and organic, are some of the worst things for you for stress. They're toxic. They have a lot of bad chemicals that are not meant to be in us. Okay, they may not create a rash on your skin, but doesn't mean internally long term they're not creating problems. So a lot of times different exposure to toxins in the atmosphere, to pollution. If you live in a polluted city like in Denver, it's in the what do you call it? Like in a little valley, right? So everything sits in there. Phoenix was similar to that. Both places had ozone layer problems. So that kind of stuff happens. Smoking, being exposed to different things like that. That's all oxidative stress, right? But we don't think about this. We don't think about stress as a chemical form. So mentally, you could be fine. Mentally, you could be a ninja. You're like Zen and you're like floating in the clouds with Gandhi and everything's great. But physically and oxidatively could be different. Your body's chemically polluted, and that's killing your stress internally, but you never realize it because it's not in your head. That's what I see a lot in these consultations. People are like, I don't have a stress problem. What are you talking about? I'm retired. Okay, just because you're retired doesn't mean your body's not dealing with autoimmune issues, doesn't mean it's not dealing with pain. Physical stress, pain. That's a stress. Imagine when I had my knee surgery 3 years ago, I had my cadaver put for an ACL, 2 menisci cut out, and that was stressful. Not being able to move around properly, having pain, medications. That's another oxidative stress. If you have medications for a long time, that's a chemical that's not meant to be in your body. I understand that it helps you guys. I understand that it helps you to feel better, managing a symptom, and I'm not against it. But I understand that you also need to do something for your body while you're doing this damage to actually help your body. Catch-22, kind of weird, right? Physical stress, pain, lack of sleep. One of the biggest physical stressors there is. But Anton, I'm fine on 65 hours a week. You know how many, or 65 hours a day? You know how often I hear that statement? If I had like $10 for every time I heard that statement, I probably wouldn't have to coach. I could retire. Because people assume that we judge fine by the way that we are right now. We judge our state of being by the current state because we're disconnected from our future self. We're not seeing how our choices today are negatively impacting us 10 to 20 years down the road. And you must start doing that. Because if you don't want to end up like my dad, dying at 45, you need to do something about it. Or if you don't want to follow suit of your family and have issues down the road with mobility and function, like you got to do something about these things while you're still young. So we talked about kind of stress coming in. What do we do for stress coming out? This is what we do. We can't really do much about stress coming in except like retire, cut some things off, which I don't necessarily look there. I work with high achievers. Guys, that's my predominant, guys, to be honest with you, I work with usually women that are in high achieving roles. And I don't mean business. I don't mean that you're a high achiever just because you work in a corporation and you have a high title. High achiever is a mom that drives one kid to soccer, one kid to karate, one kid to, dance, then picks them all up, makes a dinner, has it ready for her husband to come home, then cleans the house, then does all these things. That is also a high achiever. What I mean by a high achiever, if you're imposing more demand from your body than your body's designed to be, which many of us currently are, you're operating the same way as a high achiever. You can't back off because your life will fall apart. There's too many things that depend on you. But we have to do other things to fix that. So that's the next two areas. It's helping the adrenal glands with supplementation and stress coming out. So stress coming out, right? What kind of things can we do there to help our body deal with stress on its way out, to basically dump the water out of this bucket? Remember the water analogy, right? Stress coming in is putting water in a bucket. Adrenal glands are trying to take it out, and everything you can do to take it out yourself. When that water overflows, we start having symptoms. What are some of these symptoms, guys, right? So what are these symptoms that could happen? What are some of these symptoms that could happen? Irritability, belly fat, centralized belly fat, if just stubborn, doesn't want to come off there, sleep issues, skin problems, digestive problems, trying to think what else. Just depression, anxiety, which is like the root cause of depression, anxiety, stress. Truly fix your stress, and you probably won't need depression and anxiety medications. Now, don't cut off your depression and anxiety medication because Anton said so. Like, you need to work with me so I can help you ease off of them, not cold turkey ever do anything like that. But anyway, so what you can do is nutrition, exercise, mindfulness, and relationships. By managing those things, you help your body in managing your stress and taking some of it out of the system. Nutrition. There's things that you can do nutritionally to help your body manage stress. The number one thing you can do nutritionally is manage your blood sugar. That means high amount of protein and high amount of fiber throughout your day with regular meals. Now, what does blood sugar regulation and stress have to do with each other? And this is where most people don't understand stress from a big enough level, so they can't really fix it because they're only trying to fix it in one area. So blood sugar regulation and stress are connected because cortisol, your stress response hormone, regulates your blood sugar, regulates your insulin, regulates all these different things. So when it's having to be used to manage your blood sugar, and we're already overusing it for managing stress in other areas, don't you think you're creating a secondary problem in an area that is already problematic? So the best thing you can do for your body when you can't take stress off your plate, take sugar off your plate. You see what I did there? That's pretty clever. I didn't even mean to do that. It just came out that way. At least I laughed. So basically, don't impose more work on your body by doing poor nutrition. There's also things you can do, roots and extracts and things like that you can implement, reduce inflammation, taking curcumin and different things like that can help with stress management and incorporating that into your diet. So then exercise. What kind of things can you do with exercise? Once again, what you have to do with exercise is first stop stressing your body. It's not necessarily that exercise is going to be positive, and this is interesting because most of you, if I told you you're stressed and I say go work out, what are you going to think? You're going to feel you're going to de-stress, right? You're going to feel better because we don't understand the big picture of stress. And pay attention to this one, this exercise thing. I see so many people kill themselves with stress because of exercise. So you're thinking I'm helping myself because at the end of the exercise, I cleared my head, my body released some positive endorphins and makes me feel good, right? So I'm associating exercise with a good stress relief. But let's actually take a look at what happened. Did actual stress relief occur or not? Most of the time when we're exercising, especially, the diehards, you love your cardio. And not going to talk about cardio too much, but just understand, your body doesn't have a difference between... Hold on, freezing. My thing looks to be freezing. Your body doesn't know a difference between when it's running away from a stressor, like a lion, somebody chasing it, or if it's exercising. It doesn't differentiate. It has no ability to tell. So if you've been exercising for 40 minutes continuously, especially like steady state cardio, your system thinks that a lion's been chasing it. So at 40 minutes, a massive dump of cortisol, that fight or flight hormone, comes in. So your body can get more quick energy from sugar. Like I told you, it plays a role in blood sugar regulation to get more energy to get away from this beast to perform higher. Plus, we need to put more cortisol in the system to drive blood into our extremities away from digestion, hindering your digestion, which I've talked about in the past, so we can get away from this beast. But you're not getting away from the beast. You're just doing cardio to lose some weight. In turn, spiking your stress hormones, making your body not burn fat, and now you're not losing weight. Stress is much more complex, guys. It's not as simple as, reading a book and picking this up and understanding. There's so many more connections. So exercise can be negative. So stop doing negative exercise. So what kind of exercise is positive when you're under a lot of stress? Weights. picking up a good old weight and lifting it, that is a positive stressor. Why? Because it works out not in the same way as cardio. Cardio is steady state, right? Your cardio heart rate doesn't come down, it stays elevated. So your body thinks the whole time something's chasing me. You're lifting weights, you do, heavy reps, usually say in reps of 5. And that's another thing. Don't just do that because you get hurt, but you need to be safely doing like a 5x5 with long rest periods. It's a lot of intensity. Heavy weight for 5 reps, you knock it out, feels really tough on the body, and then you rest 2 to 3 minutes in between a set. During that rest, you're signaling to your body that it's not constantly running away from a beast. So that stress response comes back down, and we're not constantly spiking it up and keeping it elevated, not burning fat. So I'm not even talking about fat burn. This is just specifically with stress response, but it does completely connect completely into fat burn. Mindfulness. Now we're getting to a little bit of Eastern medicine. Now, I became a yoga teacher about 8 years ago. 8 years ago. You know why I became a yoga teacher? Do I seem very zen to you guys? Like, I'm not zen. I'm not this like, all right, it's going to be okay. And I'm not making fun of those people. That's just them, but that's not me. I'm high energy, like I have ADHD through the roof. So why did in the world a guy with high energy that's not zen, that cusses like a sailor, and became a yoga teacher? Because I wanted to bring the benefits of yoga to people like me, to bodybuilders, I was like 217 pounds back then, big boy, to bodybuilders, to people that don't necessarily need the Eastern side, but I understand the science behind yoga and what it does. I wanted to bring yoga to those people, so I became a yoga teacher. So mindfulness, the reason I'm talking about this, mindfulness is not just about Eastern medicine. It's not about meditating. It's not about like having this mantra that you got to chant. I was lucky. I was taught to meditate by a Buddhist monk when I was 12. He lived with us. My mom took him in for food and shelter and, taught us yoga and meditation. And I was taught transcendental meditation. It's wonderful, but it takes time and practice. There's many different forms. But guess what else is meditation? Are you religious? Perhaps you believe in Allah, you believe in God, you believe in Buddha, whatever, and do you pray? That is a form of meditation, because what meditation is, it's being present in the moment fully without worrying about what's happened before and what's coming up next. How you can find that is you can do it different ways. You can journal, you can meditate and do traditional meditation, you can do movement, you can do walking meditation, stretching, breath work. The list goes on and on and on. There's so many different ways to fix your stress through mindfulness. Even eating, guys. So people are like, I don't have time for meditation. I'm like, do you eat? Well, yes, I eat. Of course I eat. Okay, so what if I taught you a way to help you with stress while you already do what you already do, which is eat 3 times a week, hopefully, or 3 times a day. Hopefully you're eating 3 times a day. But if I told you, pay attention to how you eat right now. The way you eat right now is freaking stressful. Yeah, it's fine. It's freaking stressful. So sit down. You're in a hurry. You're shoveling that food down. Just try to get it in your system. You're already thinking about your next meeting, next thing coming up, whatever it may be, all these different things. So we are not present at all. And now imagine I added maybe just 5 minutes into your meal. And what I made you do is I made you chew your food at least 25 times between your bite and count. Guess what you're doing when you're counting while you're chewing? You're not thinking about your business meeting. You're not thinking about your kids. You're not thinking about your life problems and all these different things. Then you're also helping your digestion improve, so less stress from the gut, which I didn't even talk about. Gut stress is a form of stress. Then on top of that, you're being mindful and present because you're thinking about the flavors, the texture, the absorption of that food, actually feeling and enjoying it versus just shoveling down your mouth. Guys, I've called myself an inputs coach for a long time because what I do is I know so many different ways to work with health and in general that I don't just say, here's the way. No, let's look at what needs to happen and then find a way to make that happen with your lifestyle. Because when you know health as deep as I know, you can find ways to create these patterns that create stability and habits without having to do anything too drastically new. And that's really the key for you. So talking about mindfulness, then relationships, right? With relationships, this is a lot of form of a stress. We carry dead baggage. I said it. There's so many people in your life that you constantly engage with that shouldn't even be part of your life. The people pleaser in you, people pleaser in me hold on to bad relationships. I don't mean love relationships. I mean all relationships, business relationships, friend relationships. We carry friends from a long time ago that we don't even know why because we grew up together, but our interests are completely different. They don't support us in their path. And every time we see them, we feel judged by them. Yet we think that to be a good person, we have to keep these relationships. No, guys. To be a good person, you have to be the best you yet. That's a concept that I wish everybody would understand. The best you, when you're your best, when your health is great, when your mind is great, your spirit is great, your emotions are great, when you're on your highest potential, the world is so much better because of you. When you're not and you're just trying to be better for everybody and not taking care of yourself, the world is not a better place. It is not, because you're not the best. You're not setting the example. You're not leading your kids by example. You're not leading your teams by example. You're not doing all these things. So by you dumping those relationships and finding the best you yet through that, you're going to become better for the world. It is the right thing. Tough love is still love. Letting somebody go because you just don't fit together is helping them too. They may not want to be doing the same thing, but you were the first one to take the plunge. So relationships stress you out. They do. Not having good communication with relationships. And if you keep the relationships, learn to communicate with relationships. But if your stress is not managed, that doesn't happen. I talked about it last week, guys. If you need more to find out more about it, take a look at my last Tuesday live. I talked about polyvagal nerve theory and how it makes our ability to take risk, to have belief in ourselves, and all these things that are important for us to have healthy relationships, be great professionals, are impacted by stress. How burnout is basically just stress over a long time, and we just don't notice it, and all those symptoms connect, and we just don't think that it's stress. So all of that boils down to it. Now, the middle one, adrenal glands, right? We haven't addressed that yet. Being selective about relationships is essential, Linda. You're spot on. Marcella, appreciate you, man. Thanks for the kind words. Accountability partner. Yep, that's great, Linda. I think that just having people... And I don't even like accountability is a bad word. And you, by all means, use it. I'm just saying I like the word just support systems. We need support systems, because if you think that you can change your life without having some sort of support system, you're like either crazy or you're a rock star. Because there's very few people who can do this alone. You're just requiring too much change from yourself, and there's going to be too many roadblocks that come up. And if support system is not there, the reason you need them is when a roadblock happens, you persevere. You either go around it and you quickly get on track, or you push through it and you break through that roadblock. But without support, it's tough. So make sure you guys have those people around you for sure. Great comments, guys. I appreciate all the feedback. Feel free to ask questions too. If you get stress-specific stuff, especially right now, this is the time to ask questions on stress. I will cover whatever you need, especially because today is a little bit longer show. Just remember, I'm doing a longer one today. I want to do about an hour, because I want to see if once a week show is better compared to 4 times a week, Monday through Thursday, doing about half an hour. I just don't want to pester you guys with live notifications. I don't care if you unfollow me because of that. I care that you see the show in the way that's need to be. So shoot me a DM, let me know what you want, and I will keep doing. And also shoot me DMs on what you want to hear about, because obviously I have plenty of content I can teach, but I'd like to find out what my followers want to learn about, so I can deliver information that you want, how you want it. Anyway, so adrenal glands, right? These tiny little glands, they're about walnut size, sit on top of your kidneys. And if they go, guys, for those that had Addison's disease, it is a miserable experience. I've never had it. Like right now, I'm feeling a little low with stress. I'm doing some things, and I'll cover that in the future shows. But yes, even people that know all about stress get to a place. Why? No support system, no accountability, no planning, no focus, no coaching. So I've got a coach. All these things are going well. I'll get myself fixed in no time. But anyway, so adrenal glands, support them. Think about it's like giving steroids to an athlete to support their body with recovery and different things like that. Most people think steroids are horrible. Steroids are not horrible when they're actually done properly. They help your body with a lot of things, most importantly recovery. So think about giving supplements to your adrenal glands, like ashwagandha, rhodiola, dandelion root. There's just a bunch of tree herbs and barks out there that help them function. There's 3 kind of main ways that they do, and they're called adaptogens. Adaptogens is what you want to research if you want to find some. I have a bunch on my website, www.10percentfitter.com. And you guys can look under supplements. And basically what you'll see is 3 categories of stress management supplements. What happens is sometimes you don't have enough stress response in your body, because your body's been under stress for so long that hormone that spikes to make your body respond to stress is just not spiking properly. So there's nutrients that can help and supplements that can help that make the body force it to produce more. So you have better energy, you have better focus, you have better appetite, whatever the things that could be coming from lack of stress response. Yes, that's a bad thing. So the other one is more common if you're overproducing stress. You haven't gotten to a bad enough spot yet, then and now you're underproducing stress response hormones. That one is meant to bring it down. So say you're not going to sleep well. You lay down and, you're not falling asleep within 5 minutes. Yes, guys, you're supposed to fall asleep within 5 minutes. That's normal. I do it every single night, maybe like once a month. It doesn't happen. That's like one of my businesses, something crazy is going on. But if you're not falling asleep within 5 minutes and the brain is just going to, you're thinking about stuff, counting sheep is not, making you fall asleep. Your body's not coming down low enough with stress response, so it doesn't think it's time for sleep. That's what that basically says. Your level of that hormone is higher than it should be, so the circadian rhythm that senses from that hormone if it's time to go to sleep or not doesn't pick that signal up. It's that simple. We explain it in 1,000 different ways, but it's very simple. I can measure your cortisol and see, okay, yep, you're high, I need to bring it down. So you take a supplement that helps your adrenal glands to bring it down naturally, recover, and be able to fall asleep. And that usually fixes itself with about 3 months. These supplements you don't take forever. Usually take about 3 months, recover your body, and get back to normal. And then there's a third one, which is just an adaptogen that's meant to be for up or down. It's just support. It's nutrients and different things like that. You don't need to be tested or anything like that to use the middle one, this third one, because it's just overall support. It's not going to bring you up or bring you down. If you're going to take the other ones, I say you need to get tested, because sometimes symptom of high can be low because your body's down regulating receptors. I'm not going to get into science, but just think, if you're messing with hormones, never do it without lab testing. That you can go in a really bad direction and make a bad problem that's already bad even worse. So reach out, consults, guys. I have a bunch of lab tests that I sell on the website. They're a part of Thorne. I'm just an affiliate for them, and I can set you up with the right lab test that'll point you in the right direction. But beside the point, guys, every one of you, I see a bunch of you, appreciate you listening to the show. There is a webinar that I'm going to be doing on the 11th of September. I will open your eyes to so much stuff that you will never thought was possible. It is going to be basically a questionnaire. What I'm going to do is you're going to register for it. I'll get your email and I'll send you a PDF. That PDF has got a ton of different questions. There's 5 sections of it. Each section represents a different area of your internal health. So it could be things like digestion, nutrient deficiencies, stress, blood sugar regulation, and gut health, like as an example, and hormones. Those are the components. Through questionnaires that you fill out, I will guide you through, and you'll be reading your own at home. And then you'll see how you score on each one, and I'll explain what each one means and what that's going on. Like, it's crazy to me, like when I talk about a webinar, to see a person fall off, and I see as a viewer, while I'm giving this away, it blows my mind. Like, every person I've ever taken through this thing, they walked away like, oh my God, Anton, I didn't know this stuff happened. And once again, I'm giving it away for free, but because it's health related, people don't want to spend their time. People don't, even healthy people. I'll help a healthy person to feel optimized and better, because even a healthy person still doesn't manage all those 5 categories well. And I'm giving it away for free just for knowledge, and people are not tuning in. This is a problem, guys. This is why I do these shows, because health is no longer at the forefront of our concern. And that is a problem, because your kids, your family, your spouse all depend on you setting the example. And if you don't, guess what happens? They follow suit. There's more to this than just ourselves. So you need to be the example, be healthy. The link is in my previous post. I don't think I dropped it in this one, but I'll drop it in the comments if you guys want to come back and register. But definitely take me up on this. Like, when I give away something for free, guys, somebody that's put 10 years of research and development to themselves, take him up on this stuff, even if it requires you to dedicate some of your time, because you're going to grow. You're going to learn. I may not be the guru of online experts that's promising you 30 days and 30 pack or 6-pack in 30 days or whatever, but I will show you science and options that you can implement that make yourself successful. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. We went about, 45 minutes or so. If I don't have any questions, doesn't look like it. That's really all I got for you guys. One thing about stress that I guess I'll finish up with is, how do you actually assess your stress? How do you not just subjectively, but also objectively assess your stress? Right now, most people would think, go to my doctor and do a blood test. That's not adequate. It can detect Addison's disease. It means that it'll pick up if your body is basically stressed out to a point that it's not producing stress response hormones anymore. That's Addison's disease. It'll pick that up. And now you need 1.5 years to fix it. If you catch it early, we can fix it in 3 months. So what is the right way to do it? Blood doesn't find it out. Why? Because blood only tells you what it is in the morning. Blood tells you, do you produce it or do you not produce it? Basically it. But the problem with stress are more throughout the rest of your day. It's more throughout when Yeah, mental health definitely connects to this. I'll talk. Actually, you know what? Let me chat on that after this. So it's more of a problem throughout the day. If you're not falling asleep, the problem is at night right before you go to sleep. It's not in the morning when your blood gets drawn. If you're having, energy crashes midday, the problem is midday. It's not in the morning when you get your blood drawn. So the levels that are being measured are not being measured in times that are problematic for your life. So in order to measure your stress response, you need a saliva test. It's a 4-point saliva test. So you basically spit into a tube in 4 different parts of the day, or at least a blood test that can be collected in multiple parts of the day because they do little prick tests now. And you collect this, then you see what your levels are, and based on where you are, whether you're high and you should be lower or you're lower and you should be higher, you know what supplement I should take to correct that. I know what exercise and mindset applications I should implement in order to make it better, because based on what that test tells you, I can come in and say, based on these levels, this is how you should exercise. Yes, exercise is dictated depending on how stressed your body is. If your body's like burnt out and it's underproducing stress and you can't sleep at night too, we can't do high intensity workouts at night because your body is already spiked and we're going to create more of a spike. So we need to move your workouts in the morning. But we can't do a long workout because your body's fatigued easily. So we have to do a short duration, high intensity workout. 20-minute circuit, bam, and done. Start your day, create that stress response spike, and then ride it out into the night. Now, vice versa, if your body's too high in stress, we may need to do the strength training 5x5, lower intensity, more rest. So it's all determined. Supplements are determined by what your levels are. So it's not as simple as just, oh guys, I got this miracle supplement. If somebody tells you they have a miracle supplement for stress without ever assessing your stress, run for the hills. Because you need to have an assessment. You need to understand, even through a questionnaire at least, sitting down and saying, okay, based on your symptoms, this is what we see, this is what you need to take. Because you're messing with hormones. Never mess with hormones without testing. So mental health, guys. Mental health, this is a good time to bring it up around stress. Mental health is a stress problem. We need to, for one, can we stop calling things mental health? Why can't it just be health? Why is mental health different from health? It's just health. We think that, it's funny. I have mental health practitioners that are not health experts. It blows my mind. I'm like, how is it that you go and you teach on mental health, but you have no jack squat about science and internal working of physiology? I don't get it. I don't understand how you people can go and listen to that, because they can give you a component of mindset. But if your mental health is coming from digestive issues, what freaking thing is mindset going to help you with? It's not. You need to assess a full body to understand. Let's talk about some mental health issues, right? Anxiety. Where does anxiety come from? When your body's revved up all the time, that's what happens. So you can have all the right mindset in the world, but if it's physical stress that's killing you and it's not mental stress that's killing you, that's causing anxiety, are you going to connect the dots on that? No. You need to understand the bigger picture. What's another issue? Depression. Depression comes from your gut. That's where it comes from. 80% of our serotonin, which is our happy neurotransmitter that makes us feel good, which is what depression medicals are giving you, are made in our stomach. If your gut is not working properly because of stress or because of other issues, fix that and depression will get better. Guys, I fixed so much depression and anxiety in people I can't count on my hands and my feet. Used to take medications, no longer take them. Why? Because we fixed the root cause. If you want to talk mental health, do not ever talk mental health without talking about health. Everything is connected. Your body and your mind is one and together. One doesn't operate independently of the other. So somebody that's only trying to work with you in your head is missing a bigger picture. You guys need to be addressing mental health through health. So let's just call it health. Bipolar disorder. It's something that I've dealt with in my family. I won't tell you who and everything necessarily, but I've dealt with borderline bipolar disorder and bipolar disorders. You know what's triggered by what triggers are? Stress, poor nutrition. All of that triggers BPD. And I've seen and I've done and I've worked with people and I've really corrected. Does it ever get fixed? Not necessarily. I'm not here to fix your BPD, but I'm here to remove triggers. Let's remove the trigger that makes you feel that way, and then it doesn't happen. It may be still inside, but it doesn't come out. It's like the Hulk, right, in Avengers. The Green Hulk doesn't have to come out. We can be stable, controlled, and it doesn't have to happen. So if you want to fix mental health, why is mental health becoming such a problem these days? Because we're facing 100 times more stress than even our grandparents did. Think about that. 100 more times stress than even our grandparents did. Two generations. What do you think is going to happen to your kids? What do you think is going to happen to their kids? We're not slowing down, guys. I will talk about this as much as I can. Earth Overshoot Day, I'm going to talk about almost every single show that I can. Earth Overshoot Day represents on what day in the year did we as a planet use up all of our resources we should have used for the year. End of July is when it happened this year. It's starting to slow down. We're starting to get better. But we've been talking about this for years. Stress Overshoot Day hasn't even been calculated or figured out. But I would say probably by April, we're using up all our resources as a human being that an individual should be using for themselves for the year. From the amount of work that we do, from the amount of stimulation on the electronics that we do, social media, over scheduling, you name it. We use up what we should use up probably by April. Scary, right? And it's not slowing down. It's only expediting. Why? Because of technology. We live in a flat world. Everybody can be reached across the universe. I don't mean flat, those believers in science. I just mean everybody can be reached across the universe at fingertips. I'm always accessible because of my apps and my emails and different things like that. You are drowning in stress. If you live in modern society, you are drowning in stress. And some of you are doing something about it. Some of you are not. Some of you are not doing enough about it. But the thing is, your mental health connects to that. That is the culprit. Here's a scary statistic. This was about 10 years ago, so I'm not sure what the stat is. But at that time, I read up a stat that said over the last 25 years, we've increased our antidepressant prescription by 400%. What has happened from, say, 2009 to, say, early, mid-70s? Or be 80s? What happened during that time? Think about it. Those of you that have been around. Our diet went to shit. Our stress went through the roof. Technology is overstimulating us. We're bombarding our body in all ends when it comes down to stress response, and we're not really doing anything about it. Or we think we're doing something about it, but it's not even close to the amount of damage that's coming in. So now our internal system is acting out. It's creating symptoms. And these symptoms are showing up in our mind. It's showing up as mental health. But it's internal health stuff that's driving that. Now, don't get me wrong. Is there people that have actual mental health diagnosis? Yes. The majority of people that have mental health problems that have to do with depression and anxiety are fixable through managing your stress. But you can't just do it through one area of your stress. This is the problem, right? So people are like, oh yeah, I've tried that before. Somebody told me that. So I started meditating. Okay? But what if your stress is not mental? What if your stress is digestive? What if you have food sensitivities that are not necessarily full-on allergens? And this is an interesting point. A food sensitivity can take up to 72 hours to create a response in your body. So I had a trainer back in the day. This was like 9 years ago. One of my trainers, she was... every time she ate cheese, 3 days later her legs itched. Sure enough, did a food sensitivity panel, turned out that cheese was sensitive to her body. But it wasn't until 72 hours that she had a response. Would we connect that normally? No, we don't. So it creates internal damage to our gut, creating stress, creating anxiety, and creating all these issues, but we're trying to meditate to fix our mental stress. Now, don't get me wrong, meditation can help your digestion as well. I'm not against that. I'm not saying that. But the best route would be to fix digestion. There's things that are more designed specifically to fix digestion versus to go in a direct route to fix stress to aid digestion, right? And I can talk to you about all that in future shows and stuff like that, but the point that I'm making is that it comes back to internal health. It comes back to you have to fix your digestion to fix your mental health. It's not just about meditation. What if it's pain? What if it's physical? What if it's because your gut biome is off? Say you've been on, say you came off surgeries. You had a few surgeries and you've been on massive doses of antibiotics. Or if you've been sick, or if you've just taken a lot of antibiotics in your life, guys, and you have digestive issues, reach out. Let's fix this because it's pretty simple. But your life sucks if that's going on because I know the side effects that exist. But anyway, so you've been on antibiotics for a long time. You've killed off all these good little gut bacteria that live inside your gut, and they are just not supporting you in the way they should. And they have so many different functions like digestion, mood, like they play all sorts of different roles, cravings, and the bad bacteria are overwhelming them. So here we are trying to meditate to fix our stress because we know our stress connects to mental health, but it is our gut biome that's causing the problem. So when you're working with this is why you don't go after mental health without assessing the full picture of health. This is why I shake my head when I sit there and I see people preach this stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not against those people. They're just trying to help in their own way. I'm not bashing those individuals. They just don't see the complete picture. And we cannot solve this problem with incomplete solutions. We have to look at the whole system, right? So you have 3 areas that you see on the screen of what stress, like main areas. Each one of them has 5, 10 sub areas. So we have to investigate all of these things to put a complete picture of your stress response, where it's damaged, where the problems are coming in, what's happening, to create a good plan that's going to fix it. Stress is the root cause of 80 to 95% of all health elements we face. When you fix this one thing, everything else gets better. All of a sudden, your sleep gets better, your energy gets better, your appetite, your cravings improve. You get fuller sooner, and your body is hungry less, so you lose weight. Outside of many other reasons why stress plays a factor in that. So there's so many positive side effects from it, but in order to change, I first need you to understand all the negative side effects and how they're connected. Because then you start to understand the big picture, then you do these things less because you know why it happens. If you don't understand how, say you're struggling with a relationship with your spouse, and you don't understand how stress connects with that, are you likely to fix your stress in that moment? No, there's bigger priorities going on. I have to fix my marriage. I have to fix these things before I worry about my stress. But if the stress is what's driving it, you have to fix the stress. Otherwise, you're going against the grain. You're trying to push 2 balls up a hill at the same time. Every time you push one, the other one falls down. You gotta fix the root cause of things, and that's what it's ultimately about. That's what health coaching is about. This is why, as a health coach, I was a life coach, and I went back to health coaching because everything connected back to health. So I was like, why not tackle both at once? Why not help people with their life through their health, and help their health through their life, and connect them in a way that makes habitual change that only has to be applied about 10% focus at a time. That's how it's done. Quick fixes don't work, guys. There's no such thing. If you have a coach that says, I can do this for you quickly, run. That's not a coach. That's an expert or a trainer or whatever. And they may, but that's not a coach. Coach has to look at all the inputs, all the variables, all the different things in your life and your life in itself, and say, let's put together a plan. You put together a plan with my questions, with my education and my aid that fits your style. Because if it doesn't fit, if we just crammed a plan into your lifestyle, you're going to fall off. You may last a week, maybe 2, maybe if you're really disciplined, a month. But eventually you're going to fall off, and you're not going to fix the root cause. So make sure that you're going to fix the root cause by fixing your internal health and fixing all these components. Let me see if there's any other questions. So guys, I will chat on mental health a little bit more in future topics because I know it's a big one. Because one of the things that I do is I work with organizations. This is my passion. My biggest passion is to come in with a team and assess that team and say, okay, how can we maximize individual performance of each of your players so that your team can have exponential growth? Why? If any of you run a team or have ran a team or own a business, do your employees love to invest time in the development for your business or your team outside of work? They don't. It's just life, guys. It's nothing wrong with it. Like, I don't like working outside of work. I want to enjoy my life. So what is the greatest way for you to improve your employee performance with something that they can do outside of your work hours? Health. Fix the operator. We work so much in technology and trying to get the best app, the best system, the best whatever. But the operator of that app is not functioning properly. The biggest margin for growth in business right now does not lie within a system. It lies within the operator of that system. Your retention rates, your customer retention rates, employee retention rates, your profits, your profitability, your productivity, your engagement at work, all ties into this one thing, your employee health. And if it's done the right way with inspiration and their goals and their life purpose in mind, it can be made to where they're not investing extra time into away from your business at work and improving how they perform at your business. How cool is that? Like, that's amazing. But we're so new to these concepts, and we're so new to understanding of health and how it connects into business and how science tells us it connects into business, that business owners are not jumping on this as a solution. And they need to. Because I'm telling you, like, if I could spend 3 months with your team and deliver some of this knowledge and create some of these, implement some of these tools, and most importantly, fix compliance with corporate wellness programs because it's custom tailored to their needs, you're going to see your performance of your organization skyrocket. And you're going to see happier team members while you're getting greater output. A lot of times, profits, we tend to give up happiness for profitability because we put more emphasis on numbers. We have to push a little harder and we lose team members. We lose happiness. But this way, we can accomplish profitability and that. Guys, I'm not a health coach that didn't run a business. I was a senior manager, 150 team members, like 28 managers at one point when I was overseeing a market. Like, I've done my fair share of business. I know what business does and I know how to operate it, but I know how to maximize the one thing that you're all missing, your operators. All right, guys, take care of your stress, see the bigger picture, and that's all I got for you today. Bye.